So what Tim is efforting to show you is what Homeboys does, because a lot of people don't know, and you will be educated today. I've been a teacher there for 4 years. I'm going on my 5th year, and I will talk about that during our presentation. Loveta is the one who spearheaded this topic today. And so I want to turn it over to you a little bit, Loveta, to maybe talk about how you opened your heart to Homeboys.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Tim. I will try to do this without getting all choked up, because it's like, if you want to really experience something, tattoos on the heart is an understatement. The devotion of Father Gregory Boyle, his intention and his commitment is nothing short of miraculous. And I'll start out by writing, I've written down several quotes out of the book that touched me deeply. And I'll start there, and Tim and Linda will pick it up from there. One of his quotes that struck me deeply was, "Behold the one beholding you, smiling." I'm going to read that again because it took me a bit. Behold the one beholding you, smiling. And there's a card that says, "God smiled the day you were born." And to carry that in your heart. And the Homeboys and Homegirl Industries is a phenomenon on any scale. We've taken a couple of trips down there, and it's amazing. He's down in deep LA. This is down in Barrio area, where gangs fight and annihilate each other on a regular basis, for reasons or no reasons. And they call Father Gregory G-Dog, and he calls them mijo or mija, which touched me deeply. What affection and what regard, what high regard to hear that from his heart, it comes out as mijo or mija. Often it's about recognizing the loveliness, is what Father Boyle talks about. While fighting despair, face to face, one human heart at a time, one on one, Father Boyle brings organization, humor, wisdom born in the fire, and he wrestles with and reasons with and weeps with, first himself, then to the moments shared in kinship. Being an English major and many other things, I've just read the one book. I'm taking liberties here. He's continued his education with homey grammar, the art of conversating, barrio jargon, better known as slang, blasing it by a gang member called Marino, and my favorite, homey prosisms. And this is an example. "It's so bad I had to eat at the Starvation Army." And that cracks me up because I'm dyslexic and I'll get it messed up like that frequently. So it's like right off the bat, I identify. He also provides us with insight behind and beyond the Oz drape in Woody Allen-esque style. His beginner's mind and first thoughts that instantly fade when the words spoken begin to morph. And this is him saying this. The words morph into that of God's compassion. He points out that we all have an overactive disapproval gland within ourselves. And he reminds us choice is not to focus on the narrow, but to narrow our focus. And contemplation on a single unmarred moment The spark of life and love can make all the difference. And the gate to life isn't about restrictions. It opens into the expansive vastness of plenitude. Please let that marinate. These people are considered outcasts and sinners. And he says, homies seem to live in a zip code of the eternally disappointing and need a change of address. And he has stepped into that void. And he talks in terms of how many homies he's buried, his examples of loving them unconditionally clearly has touched me deeply. I've spent not nearly as much time as Linda and Tim on this, and it has just changed my point of view in many directions. And compassion is a covenant between equals, not a relationship between healer and the wounded. He gets in the trenches and he says he shares his wounding and recognizes the commonality between himself and the people he serves and is in his sphere of loving compassion. And I'll stop there. Linda, you want to pick it up?
Sure. Thank you.
Well, I'm back and I'm ready to start it. Let's give it a try.
Yay.
Okay, let's go to here and share computer sound. And hopefully this is going to work all right. Can you see the Homeboy presentation with our names on it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Here we go. So Homeboys Industry, we work with a population that nobody desires to work with. And its principle of this place is that we stand with them. There's a picture of Homeboy Bakery and the meeting place in downtown Los Angeles, just by Chinatown. They call it Homeboys Industry. I call it Miracle Industries because I've never seen anything like the transformation that takes place down there. So Loveta talked about the introduction. Tattoos on the Heart is the name of his book. He has another one out called Barking to the Choir, which is also another great book. It was 1986 to 1992. Father Boyle was the pastor of Dolores Mission Church in Boyle Heights. That place was between two housing projects and had the largest concentration of gang activity in the city. During the 1992, the gang-related deaths peaked at 1,000 gang-related killings. And he went back and forth and tried to create truces and so forth between the gangs at the time. Law enforcement idea on how to deal with this was to incarcerate them. But the parish felt they wanted to treat the gang members as human beings. He has a little quote here: gang violence is about a lethal absence of hope. So down in Homeboys Industry, I snapped this picture in the lobby. You see this all the time. People come in and he just greets them with loving care. They provide training. They provide support to former gang involved and incarcerated men and women, allowing them to redirect their lives. Personally, when I've been down there, I haven't met one person who has not been in prison. So it's a very heavy duty group. Here's a little clip of Father G. Hopefully you can hear the sound. If you can you put your thumb up so I know that it's coming through?
This place stands for a high degree of reverence for how complex human beings are. That indeed everybody is a whole lot more than the worst things they've ever done. And so we want to see people as God does, with the highest, deepest reverence for that complexity. To see each other today and always for the truth of who we are, that were God's delight. And there's nothing you can do to alter that. That's just who you are.
You can see his eyes, how he radiates love and compassion. You know, in alchemy, they talk about changing lead into gold. He is changing lead into gold in front of our eyes down there. And now we can see some of the results.
You know, I didn't believe before that I can do a drug-free life and, you know, do recovery and be a better mother and a sister and friend. But today I stand here on my 2 feet and I'm a strong woman.
Because our motto here is family. Our motto here is kinship.
Before it was just, you know, all about me. It's not about me anymore. It's about my family, my friends, my loved ones, and the community right here at Homeboys.
This is a quote. I just thought about Homeboys and what it's like when I'm there. And I say, every time I am at Homeboys, I see miracles. When I leave, I'm literally on a high. I'm just, I am so moved by what I see. And Linda's quote was, I teach to help, I teach to give, and I teach to love. As I mentioned before, Linda's has a class down there, Getting to Know Yourself. And when she can't make the class, and I substitute teach for her.
There's an idea that's taken root in the world that there just might be lives out there that matter less than other lives. And Homeboy Industry stands against that idea. Everybody's equal, everybody matters, everybody counts.
We are more than gangsters, we are more than drug addicts, we are more than what the poor barrios and the ghettos told us we are.
You're serving the world with your work, with your effort.
Remind yourself of what it is you're doing, because you just don't know who's watching, and the words you might say to someone would allow them to turn back the hands of time.
Everyone down there has become a model for somebody else. Each person is a model to help the other. And it's just as he said here.
And the words you might say to someone would allow them to turn back the hands of time.
Turn back the hands of time to an earlier time when they were healthy and happy and free. So with this, I'm going to turn it over to Linda to talk a little bit about her experience with teaching at Homeboys. We were at a picnic, and there's a picture of Father G in the center, and Linda and I at the picnic, the Homeboys picnic, which had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gang members and their families. It was amazing. So Linda, it's all yours.
Great. That is what my class used to look like. I think Tim took that picture. You know, they have a couple of big classrooms upstairs, and my class was at 9 o'clock on Friday. Now it's at 9:30 on Zoom. And many people would come in. Now, not everybody wants to be there. I have to say that the security people will round them up. They're outside smoking, or they're just, you know, jawing, and they say, get into class. You got to get into class. They get credit for being in class. And there are so many classes that they can choose from. 80 classes a week. It used to be that, 80 classes. I was one little piece of this puzzle. But I have to say that the people who come are hungry. And they may not even know what hunger feels like because they've been in a different world for so long. And they have these walls up and these habits, and they're hard only when needed, because underneath that, they're all just like us. So I started there after Connie Caruso, one of our members many years ago, took us on a tour there. She volunteers there a lot, loves them. And I was impressed and moved, and I knew I had to do something. And Nita and I put together a little handbook because I thought I would do couples work because that's my work in Long Beach. And we made it really cute. Oh, she made it so cute. It had like a little homie on it with a flower or something. It was great. It was about maybe 8 pages. And, you know, it took me about 4 or 5 months to get on schedule, to get on the schedule of here's your class. And I remember going in there the first day, maybe you've heard me talk about this. And, you know, I had in my mind how it would go, but I hadn't been there to see how it would go. And when I went in there, you know, I passed out the little booklets, and then some of them made paper airplanes and threw them at each other. And I thought, what am I bringing here? Because this is not going to work. It's very hard to pay attention. And any class that a teacher has, you think that people will follow the teacher? Mm-mm. You follow them. Mm-mm. So I had to do some soul searching and figure this out. I did with the education consultant. And she helped me, and we decided on getting to know yourself, because if you know yourself, then the world is easier. And it felt like that was the path. So I bring in my whiteboard and draw sometimes and maybe make them write. But basically what you do now, because for the last 10 months I've been on Zoom with them, smaller class, maybe about 10, is I just tell them that they're loved and that they're regarded and that they're great and that they have everything they need. And that comes in various forms, but it's always the same message, because every one of them wants to know that they can live in this world and be free, because they haven't had those messages in their past life. And they have habits from their past life. But I think the reason that I love being there and love being with these people is because I had it hard as a teenager. I had it hard for a long time, and I know hard. I don't know their hard, but I know my hard. And I know how crazy you are when you're hard. I know what crazy shit you do. I don't know their crazy shit, but I know crazy shit. And I know I get them. I get them. And they can feel that. They want to know, are you really you? Are you bringing something here? Because they will test you. And they will be, yeah, I've come up against a few that were wanted to take my head off. But we found our way. And every time I'm there, I'll close up in a moment. Every time I'm there, I know I always have to come from my center. So it's my meditation when I'm there. Because if I'm not coming from the heart, they can snap on it really. Mm-hmm. So they're a good grounding for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. I'll put the presentation back on. Here we go. Share computer sound. Okay. Each year, over 15,000 gang members from across Los Angeles come through Homeboys Industries to make a positive change. This is a picture I just snapped in the lobby. Notice the receptionist there with the tattoos all the way over the top of his head. You see that a lot down there. They're welcomed into a community of love, kinship, and many, many services, including tattoo removal, which is quite amazing. What began in '88 as a way of improving the lives of gang members now is the largest gang intervention, rehab, and re-entry program in the world. If you take a look at this, it's in 34 states and 20 countries now. They come to Homeboys like 400 organizations just in 2014 came from all around the world, visited Homeboys, brought the template back to either their country or their state, and it's worked successfully. It's just amazing how it spread. The Conrad N. Hilton Foundation gave them a humanitarian prize this year in October, $2.5 million in unrestricted funding, and it's for their extraordinary contribution toward alleviating human suffering. Just amazing. Tattoo removal. Oops.
Tattoo removal.
Tattoo removal.
Tattoo removal is a change of life.
The first tattoo that I removed was my gang tattoo. It had been there for so long, but I was ready to do it, and after I done it, it felt good. At first it was kind of like, oh my God, I'm taking this off. But then I was like, yeah, because it's no longer who I am.
They have doctors who come in and volunteer a number of times a week with these lasers, and they can completely clear their skin of tattoos. It's absolutely amazing after a number of treatments. Here's some examples of, let me just go back. Why do gang members and criminals get tattoos? Anyone want to hazard a guess? You can unmute yourself.
Identify themselves.
Yes, to
Sense
identify.
of pride.
Yes, right, very good. Anybody else?
Be part of a particular set or group.
Yes, be part of a group, right? Anybody else? Okay, how about this? Don't mess with me. When you see them, they're in very dangerous situations. They need to look tough just for self-defense. Another one, as you mentioned, is to fit in with the other prisoners in the gang. Another one is their identity is totally stripped in prison. They become numbers. So it's an attempt to cling to some identity and some form of self-dignity. And finally, they let rival gangs know where they're from and what kind of a threat they are. If you mess with a person with a gang tattoo, the group will retaliate. So it's a defense mechanism. So they've done about 12,000 now tattoo removals. And
hi, my name's Stephen, and thank you for looking at my Kickstarter, the book Skin Deep. For the last couple of years, I've been working on a project about the effects that tattoos have on ex-gang members, how we as a society judge them, and also how they judge themselves. The concept behind this book was really simple, and it was to take portraits of heavily tattooed people who are trying to escape the gangs or have left the gangs. A lot of them going through tattoo removal. Remove their tattoos on Photoshop and then return to them and show them what they look like without tattoos. Allow people to see beyond the tattoos, to hear the stories. I hope create empathy and understanding for the situation they're going through.
And like, I know I got tattoos, whatever, but it'll be awkward because I'll sit down in the bus and nobody will want to sit next to me. They'll rather stand up than to sit next to me. Or I'll see like old ladies and they'll start grabbing their purse.
here's some examples of the kind of tattoos you see down there. These are all from people at Homeboys. Even the women can be highly tattooed. The gentleman who's second from the right, his name's Mario. We're going to see a little video on him coming up. You can see the difference when the tattoos are removed. It completely changes their self-image. I met a guy in the bookstore, his tattoos had been removed. You could never tell that he had any tattoos at all, and he was covered like these gang members were. This is Mario showing how he would be before and after.
It brings a lot of death, sadness, hate, destructive, sick.
Just sit in this jail cell for the rest of your life. Give up, bro. Like, you're not gonna come out of this alive. Like, you're done, you're shit.
Just out of control, eh? There's nowhere to just, that made that movie is a savage. It's not a savage. This is a.
And now the transformation.
I regret getting tattoos. I regret everything. But now, I'm trying to be something. I don't want to be the same old person no more.
My name is Francisco Flores. I worked at Home Industries at one point. Now I don't. I moved on. I work in Hollywood, and I'm an electrician.
I appreciate it, man. Like you put my story out there. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't go nowhere and just talk to somebody and have a story. But they look at me crazy. I just hope this thing explodes.
So I'll get to my experience at Homeboys. One thing I want to say is that Father G, as they just call him G a lot, has a really good sense of humor, and he kind of jokes around a lot. And I want to mention that back when Homeboys was first going, people were concerned that there was some company helping gang members thrive. So they would give death threats and bomb threats. And so they started joking. They said that they maybe need to change the voicemail message after hours to say, "Thank you for calling Homeboys Industries. Your bomb threat is important to us."
Great.
And here's another one. Father G they had to train people how to answer the phone and be receptionists and so forth. So there was a home girl on the phone just outside of Father G's office. And I can only say exactly the way she said it, otherwise it'll lose its power. She's answering the phone and she says, "Go ahead and bring that bomb, motherfucker. We are ready for your ass."
Yeah.
We are ready for your ass. So Father G comes out of his office and he says, "Who's that?" And she covers up the receiver and she says, "Oh, just some fool who wants to blow this place up." Father G says, "Okay, maybe you should just say, 'Have a nice day and may God bless you.'" So he's got this great sense of humor. This is a picture I snapped in the class. And I find that as Linda was saying, they come in, they wear armor. They have armor. It's like protective armor because they've learned to just cover themselves. But once you can get that armor to open up a little bit, a lot of heart pours out. And one day there was this guy who was in terrible shape. He just started almost yelling, "I don't know if I can make it. I'm just barely hanging on. I want to go out and use drugs again. I need some relief. Everything is horrible. I've gangbanged and used drugs for so long, and now it's calling me back." And he seemed suicidal to me. He was so desperate. And so I'm sitting there. And another thing I learned is you don't go down there and teach. You try to find the wisdom that they have and bring it up to the surface. So I'm sitting there. I didn't know what to say. And I said to the group, "What could you say to help them?" And one person after another jumped in and said, "We've been there. This is a natural place. We've all gone through these terrible cravings and want to go back to the old ways, but just hang on. Just keep coming here. Just hang on, and it will change. We can promise you it'll change. It changed for all of us." And that day I saw hope arise in his eyes. And it was as though he was a drowning man sinking, and they pulled him back up. And you see this all the time down at Homeboys. Just going to open it up for a minute of group discussion. And let's see how we're doing on time. We'll probably have to go pretty quick. Just if anyone wants to say any comments or feedbacks or ideas at this point. Whitney? Unmute, Whitney. Okay, Whitney can't find the unmute button. Ron, did you want to say something? Unmute. Please unmute yourself.
Bottom left, Whitney, bottom left of the screen.
There, I found it. I had it on speaker view. It's very overpowering, and thank you for bringing this to us. It is life-changing, and walking the talk. You three are walking our talk. Thank you very much.
Ron?
An amazing presentation, but the tattoos to me, and I knew a lot of people that had them, it's really was their court of last resort. It was their last thing that they had to keep their dignity while they were in this world. And blessings to you and Linda and doing all this fantastic work. I'm deeply moved.
Thank you, Ron. Hyacinth?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how grateful I am that this connection has been made between Homeboys and Mastery Circle. I was a parolee counselor for 2.5 years at another program called Amistad. So I could understand Linda's, when you try to reach, you have to become so transparent and just, be them. You guys are really wanting me to devote my time away from my work to Homeboys. I know how you feel. Someone said, whenever you find out about them, you feel you want to be a part and help and do what else, what are we here for? So I'm so grateful that this has happened. And thank you all that made this presentation happen. I'm so grateful that it's being recorded so we can share and inform more people about Homeboys. Thank you so much. Wow.
Okay, we should get back because we started just a little bit late. I'm gonna quickly run us back. Let's see if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, just so we have it quiet again. Here we go. Share with computer sound. And there are a lot of classes here at Homeboys. Linda.
I went through all these classes.
Substance abuse classes, the anger management. There was a leadership class.
Legal services, GED,
job resource, pathways to college,
domestic violence, NA, AA,
the computer lab.
I started taking parenting classes. First, I started taking them because they have free food. And all those tutors, they don't give up on you. They want to drill you every morning before you had your coffee. It was real hard.
It's helped me become the father that I always wanted.
The secret sauce here is the place, is the community, is the environment, is the extravagant tenderness that people encounter.
Linda, do you want to say anything additional about the classes you're training?
Yeah, I would like to just add that everybody can see my shirt. It says Homegirls. They have a tremendous store of many, many, many products. This is, 5 years old, and beautiful, beautiful clothes that you can buy. And they sell a lot of cups and other things that are representative of Homeboys. But I also want to just let you know that Father G travels around the world, around the country, and he's often not there. But they have many, many, many trained people that have devoted their life. They've come through the program and devoted their life to be there, and they run the programs. So everyone loves Father G. Father G is angel, angel, angel. And they hold him in their hearts. But, I have to tell you that a lot of people don't get him all the time. And especially now on COVID, I really want to talk to you about this just for a moment, because it's a very different universe. These are people struggling, really struggling, because they can't go to work. They can't go in there. And the Homeboy Cafe, Homegirl Cafe is selling a lot of baked goods for Christmas. I think Tim will have some information about that at the end. It's also Giving Tuesday if you want to make a donation. And COVID will end, and we know that. And we got to get them through it. Thank you, Tim.
Great. Thank you, Linda. He just mentioned the secret sauce. I'm going to replay what he said on the secret sauce.
extravagant tenderness that people encounter.
The extravagant tenderness that people encounter. And guess who's the source of the extravagant tenderness and who holds that space? It all flows out from Father G, and it just propagates the entire place. Here's some pictures I snapped in the lobby. Someone's coming up, talking to him, and then there's this deep connection. He just sends energy. He heals people. He's got the biggest heart, and he's also the humblest man in the world. It's unbelievable. He's done so much good for all these people. He's given them a place to work. They always wanted to work, but they couldn't because no one would hire them. He got this bakery. There was a wonderful man in Hollywood by the name of Ray Stark who was successful. Said, what can I do? How can I help? And he said, there's an old bakery. We can buy it and give them jobs. And that was the first thing that started to solidify them so they could earn honest money and support their family rather than drugs or violence. Here's a final story about Mario. Loveta, would you like to introduce this? I know you've seen Mario.
Sure. Mario was working in the Homegirl Cafe behind the counter. And I was absolutely riveted watching him because he looks like my nephew. I have a nephew that looks very much like all of these people. And I got up and went over to the counter, and he could not have been more authentic, kind, courteous. And then he looked up, and I saw in his eyes a compassion and a vulnerability that I hadn't expected. And he is just a marvelous young man. And I just want to read another Father G quote that has touched me deeply. And it says, compassion is a covenant between equals. And when you see him embracing someone, that is him living his covenant between equals. It is not a relationship between a healer and the wounded. And that is so profound. But Mario is an example of commitment on both sides, of absolutely stepping up to the plate and staying there. And Father G even references and waiting for the slow work of God, because this is not an instant transition. It's not easy. And you wait and you wait and you hold that place and you wait. I'm clearly deeply moved and touched and blessed to be part of this. And I'm grateful to Linda and Tim bringing it about.
Thank you so much, Loveta. Okay, I'm going to come back. So this is the final story about Mario, and we're almost done. I just want to mention that in the Eastern culture, there's a being called the Bodhisattva. And a Bodhisattva is someone who does not go to nirvana, but comes back to the world to free all beings of suffering. And even the hell beings, and even the hungry ghosts in the Tibetan cosmology, hell beings and hungry ghosts. If that isn't a description of what Father G is doing, I don't know what is. He's a pure bodhisattva. He is helping the hell beings. These people are living in hell and have lived in hell and are gradually being pulled out of it. So here's the final story about Mario.
I should tell you that Mario, in our 30-year history at Homeboy, is the most tattooed individual who's ever worked there. His arms are all sleeved out, neck blackened with the name of his gang, head shaved, covered in tattoos, forehead, cheeks, chin, eyelids that say the end, so that when he's lying in his coffin, there's no doubt. And so I'd never been in public with him, and we're walking and people are like this and mothers are clutching their kids more closely. I'm thinking, wow, isn't that interesting? Because if you were to go to Homeboy on Monday and ask anybody there who's the kindest, most gentle soul who works there, they won't say me, they'll say Mario. He sells baked goods at the counter at our cafe. He's proof that only the soul that ventilates the world with tenderness has any chance of changing the world. So the nighttime talk comes and it's 1,000 people, and I invite them up to share their stories in front of all these people for 5 minutes each. They were terrified, but they did a good job. And honest to God, if their stories had been flames, you'd have to keep your distance, otherwise you'd get scorched. I invite them up for Q&A, and I said, yes, ma'am. And a woman stands and she says, yeah, I got a question. It's for Mario. First question out the gate. And Mario steps up to the microphone. He's a tall drink of water, skinny, and clutching the microphone, and he's terrified. Yes. And she says, well, you say you're a father and you have a son and a daughter who are about to enter their teenage years. What advice do you give them? What wisdom do you impart to them? And Mario clutches his microphone and he's just terrified and he's trembling and he's getting a hernia trying to come up with whatever the hell he's gonna say when finally he blurts out, and he stops and he retreats back to his microphone clutching, terrified retreat. But he wants to get this whole sentence out. I just don't want my kids to turn out to be like me. And there's silence until the woman who asked the question stands, and now it's her turn to cry, and she says, why wouldn't you want your kids to turn out to be like you? You are loving, you are kind, you are gentle, you are wise. I hope your kids turn out to be like you. And 1,000 total perfect strangers stand, and they will not stop clapping. And all Mario can do is hold his face in his hand, so overwhelmed with emotion that this room full of people, strangers, had returned him to himself, and they were returned to themselves. And I think you go from here to stand with the demonized so that the demonizing will stop. And you stand with the disposable so that the day will come when we stop throwing people away. And you stand with those whose dignity has been denied, and you stand with those whose burdens are more than they can bear, and you stand with the poor and the powerless and the voiceless. Make those voices heard.
Oh my God.
Tim, I have a quote.
If we cease to
No, you have more.
What if we ceased to pledge our allegiance to the bottom line and stood instead with those who line the bottom? Father G. Go ahead, Linda, on your quote.
Sure. This is for everyone to hear. The true teacher in you. The capacity to be enlightened isn't something that someone else can offer to you. A teacher can only help you to remove the non-lightened elements in you so that enlightenment can be revealed. If you have confidence, that beauty, goodness, and the true teacher are in you. And if you take refuge in them, you will practice in a way that reveals these qualities more clearly each day.
Thank you, Linda. You can go to homeboysindustry.org to donate. As Linda mentioned, they have a store down there. You can get lots of great clothing and objects, Homeboy mugs and so forth. The books that he has are available on Amazon and other places. And finally, Cars to Charity. It's very easy to donate a car, a car that you're through with or want to give to some charity. They come out, they pick it up, they do all the paperwork, and they auction it off, and the money goes to Homeboys.
Bravo, bravo.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Wonderful morning, everybody.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Time for a closing prayer.
Before
What's
we
next
do that,
week?
let's do a quick business.
Oh, okay.
Next week, we have Jim Drever with Untriggerable, the simple teaching that awakens our true power. So then we need our facilitator.
Wait, can I make a quick little business thing?
Well, we usually do this first and then other.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bring about.
Facilitator?
Sorry?
We need a facilitator for next week.
I can do it.
Okay, Whitney, thank you. And meditation for next week. Okay, Melanie, spiritual reading for next week.
Yeah.
And that's Mim. And closing prayer for next week.
I'll do that.
Dr. Jenny.
Jenny had her hand up.
Yes, Jenny. Okie doke. Yes, Whitney.
December 10, Robert McDowell from last week and I are co-hosting a Emily Dickinson 190th birthday poetry reading on Zoom. And I believe you all have received, or it's through the groups.io. If you're not aware, you want to RSVP, we will send you the Zoom room link to the yeses and the maybes as the date gets closer. It should be fun. That's it.
If we put that in the notes, that would be great. Ronald?
Harvey, I want to introduce Julie Piering and let her say hello. She's the daughter of you know who. Let's hear from Julie and let's hear about her. Your dad, we love your dad, so say hello.
Hi, thanks so much for letting me join today. I think it's really powerful. And it actually, as I was listening to my dad and Loveta and Linda talk, it reminded me very much of this concept coming out of Martin Buber, who's both a theologian and a philosopher, about the I-thou relationship, where you treat every other with this profound compassion. And I loved when Loveta said it's through this relationship of equality rather than anything else that permits that healing. I just thought it was really profound and I was really glad to be part of this today. Thank you so much.